Johnny, hand over to you. So now we're going to go into a segment with a friend of mine that I've known through CEDIA, which stands for Custom Electronic Design Installation Association, and that is the organization I go to because I'm a custom integrator, and his name is Utz Baldwin, who now has a startup called UB. That's correct, Utz? UB?
You got it, Johnny.
All right, I got to practice that because I always say it wrong. But so you yourself were an integrator, did you say, for about 20 years or so?
Yeah, I got my start in the industry crawling under homes, pulling wire. But
my favorite part about the job.
A good 17, 20 years ago or more. I tell people that I've been in the industry since dirt.
Okay, so it was the way I met him was through the internet, like I meet pretty much everybody. But he was the CEO of CEDIA back then, and now he's gone and started his own startup called UB, which has created the world's first Wi-Fi connected smart dimmer. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what that means? I know, but I think that it'd be better if you explained it.
Super. Yeah, thanks, Johnny. Well, we saw a problem in the industry. We saw a hole, and we also saw the evolution of the connected home. So we began building a platform that allows you to control IP-enabled devices directly from your mobile device. But we did see a need to help seed the market with devices. We believe in the Internet of Things and the ability for consumers or anybody to be able to add devices to their home and set them up easily. So the first device that we created was the world's first Wi-Fi smart dimmer. It just simply replaces your current switch in your wall, and it allows you to connect to it directly from your mobile device within minutes and control it from anywhere in the world. It has sub-metering built into it, so we're able to provide the consumer with live or real-time information about how much energy they're using. And because the platform communicates with other IP-enabled devices in the home, we can provide valuable information such as how many hours a week your kids are watching TV. But what's important also to know is that the devices that we've created, we're publishing open APIs so that integrators out there that are already installing connected home devices can easily integrate these pieces without the need for any other hardware. So you literally install the dimmer, and the dimmers can now communicate with one another. So right before you leave your home, you can simply use a pinch gesture because we've incorporated Capacitive Multi-Touch, and that dimmer will send a command to all the other lights in the house to turn off as well.
Now, you're saying with a multi-touch, it's a capacitive dimmer that it's done by touch, but it's also, you're saying, with like pinch and gesture, or not gesture, but
yeah, it has capacitive multi-touch, so if you just slide your finger up or down, it adjusts the dimmer itself. But if you use 2 fingers, it'll send a command to all the other dimmers in the room and adjust those simultaneously. And if I pinch it, it'll turn off all the lights on the home. So right before you go to bed or before you're leaving the house, you can quickly turn off all the lights. And the brilliant part of it is that there's no other hardware required. So we're really proving M2M, or machine-to-machine technology, which is the Internet of Things for the connected home. And that's really where we see things going. We're trying to eliminate the need for a host of unnecessary controllers and bridges and dongles and things that make it more difficult for the consumer to incorporate in their home. So our goal is to expand the total available market from where it sits today, because we believe that we can begin to democratize some of these technologies, to simplify the technologies, and to really reinvent the user experience.
So one of the first things I noticed is that there's a lot of devices, not like yours, but a lot of dimmers and things out there, and some of them don't really fit necessarily in an easy home. You're able, so what I get, you can just take this dimmer, put it in, with a switch, any dimmable light source, and it fits in a decor plate. And from there, do they talk to the other devices? I mean, sorry, not other IP devices, but do they talk, if I have like 2 of them in the house, 3 of them in the house, are they all communicating together? Do they know the same thing?
Yeah, and they're communicating over your local area network using Wi-Fi, so there's no need to add some other device in the home that acts as a bridge or a gateway. So it's quite ubiquitous and very easy to set up. But you actually touched on something, Johnny, that because of the processing power in here, we're currently using, for anybody that cares, an ARM 32-bit Cortex processor in this prototype. So it has, it's essentially putting an iPhone in your wall. It's a very powerful device.
That was going to be my next question. How much does it cost?
And yes, that's also very good news because it's priced very similarly to advanced, I'll say, dumb dimmers that you can find in your local home improvement stores. Where we've just launched this dimmer on Indiegogo, which is a crowdsourcing campaign that we've launched at $70 or $69, and there are actually early bird specials for even lower. But if you compare that to other dimmers within the connected home industry right now, consumers spend upwards of $150 to $200 for a smart device like this, and it still requires other hardware and quite sophisticated programming.
Right. So, like a good example is I use another lighting system. I won't say the name because it's pretty popular, but doing that, you say you spend about $150 to $200, but then it requires me to have another RF repeater or something to make them communicate to each other. That's at least another $200. And the other thing is, it doesn't come with an app that's free because yours ships, if I'm correct. If I go to Indiegogo and purchase one of these or more, it comes with an iOS and Android app right out the gate. Is that correct?
Yes, we've already developed our iOS app, and the Android app will be available by the time we ship the production units to our supporters. But the app provisions the dimmer very quickly it's as easy as sending or receiving a text message. And again, there's no other hardware required. So it's quite innovative. We're very excited about it.
Now, the other thing is, when we had communicated a couple of days prior, you were mentioning, so your first product is going to be this capacitive Wi-Fi smart-enabled dimmer, and they can talk to each other, and it's very competitively priced to what's out there for the dumb dimmers, if you will. You're getting more options, more features, and it's really inexpensive in comparison. But where is UB going to go from there? I noticed if I go to your website, there are other devices that are energy monitoring, like your outlets and things like that, for other devices. Is that correct?
We do. First and foremost, we're a software company, and we're creating a platform to control IP-connected devices directly from your mobile phone. But we saw a need to seed the market with these devices. So the dimmer, we have a smart plug that's quite easy, do-it-yourself solution that you can plug into any standard outlet and either dim a table lamp or turn on and off a device. And also a smart duplex, a typical electrical outlet that has sub-metering built into it, as well as the ability to turn on and off each outlet. But the long-term vision and the plan for the company, the strategy is to complete the application and the back end, the software as a service, to control the hundreds of IP-enabled devices that are available for the home today, because that ecosystem is growing exponentially. Even at CES alone, I saw 4 or 5 new Wi-Fi-enabled door locks, and within a few short years, the Internet of Things will prove the connected home is clearly right for the technology, because we'll see things like intelligent building materials, smart windows, and smart joist hangers, and sensors that will detect moisture, mold, and variances in load and so forth. Craftsman announced an IP-enabled garage door opener last year. The number of devices that are moving to IP is going to grow exponentially, and that's what we're really shooting for, is to be able to control any off-the-shelf IP-enabled device, making it very easy for a consumer to begin controlling these devices and really expand the total available market.
That's really good to hear as far as where I'm coming from as an integrator. Let's say 2 years ago, I went and spoke to them, about their TVs, and my very first question before I even saw any of their devices was, can I control it IP? And it's always been no. Can I try and work with you to enable that? And it's always been no, we're not going to do it. I'm like, well, I'll just have to write my own drivers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, with responses of, don't do that, we're going to try and sue you and this and that. But now being more open like that, making it easier for me and the homeowner to connect their entire home at a reasonable price just makes things extremely easy. Everyone's on their iPhone, their cell phone all the time. And if I'm, at my vacation home, or I'm on vacation, or I'm just even out of the house at home, I want to know, oops, I left the light on or something. And then I'm able to get running totals and things like that. This is where I'm losing money because I forgot to turn the lights off today. Things like that. And that happens, I guarantee, all the time.
We believe in open standards, published APIs. That's really the only way to move the industry forward and to have it grow. And we believe that that's happening because there are, as I said, more and more devices. The VC community, the press, manufacturers have a great deal of interest. The semiconductor silicon manufacturers have interest in the space because they know that the Internet of Things is here, and in just a few short years we will see billions of devices connected, and that is going to literally change the way we live. Last October we launched that demo in Silicon Valley in Santa Clara, and there were 77 other tech companies starting up there, pitching and showing their wares, and we were quite surprised and honored. We won the People's Choice Award there, beating out all 77 companies, and left with a check for $1 million of IDG Media, which was quite nice. But I think it helped really affirm the idea, the concept, and the goal that we have to simplify these technologies to really bring it to a broader demographic, because everybody wants these things. They're just too costly today.
Real quick, I want to say that Wine Inc. by Tia is really happy she's getting this book. And she's submitting another question. Now, do you have a book?
I do not have a book.
Okay.
Will you?
Well, when you write a book...
We'll get you. Send me your deck and your email. I'll get you a book and look at the deck.
All right.
And get his book, too.
Right.
Also,
Yeah, okay.
So Tia wants to know, what's the most important lesson you've learned through your own work experience?
Oh, great. Mine would be, it's all about perseverance. It's about keeping your head down and doing what you believe in. I certainly believe in aiming high. We've got lofty goals. Trying to prove the Internet of Things for the connected home is no easy task. And there's a lot of work to do, but we've been working at this for a year. I have no income yet. We're a pre-revenue startup, and that can take its toll. But if you believe in something, you keep moving forward. I think things ultimately pay off. And I've been fortunate enough throughout my career, regardless of when I was crawling underneath houses. I think you said it yourself that you came in without the pedigree, and you worked your way through the industry and got to where you are. And I started crawling in the dirt under homes, pulling wires. I still believe I've got a long way to go, but I'm very fortunate and happy I've been able to experience everything I have thus far.
And you have a question. I also want to invite the other audience members here in our live studio audience, and Scott also, to chime in when you feel like it. Just jump on in. So, James,
yeah, no, my question was and maybe Maynard to come in on this. There seems to be a lot more, even from outside, it feels there's more activity going on from VCs and angels in this space. I mean, I think it was at Nest, recently had a lot of investment from Google Ventures. There's this whole smart homes, connected homes seems to be a rising trend. I'd be interested to get, from Utz, to find out what the level of interest was like from the angel or the VC community, whether, you were going for either one, and also from Maynard, the kind of things that you're kind of seeing and coming across your desk every day. Is this a trend that you're seeing as well?
Well, let
us go first.
Can you start?
Well, after winning demo, of course, we got a flurry of activity on Sand Hill Road and met with quite a number of tier 1 VCs all up and down Sand Hill, and many of them said they're very interested in the space. They're ready to place a bet, and there was a lot of activity. The concern is there's a lot of noise, but I think that helps demonstrate that there's movement in the right direction. And their main concern is, are we at the tipping point yet? Right? Are there enough devices to support it? Are there enough people that really want this? Is it time? Because there has been a lot of activity in the space over the past few years. Motorola, I think, had 3 acquisitions in the space over the past decade. There have been a lot of arrows aiming at the target, but many of them have failed. We simply believe that we've got the right approach, simply because of my industry experience. My co-founder, Glenn Bircher's 25 years in the semiconductor industry, and the rest of the team really understands the industry and the space and what we're trying to get done. But the bottom line is, with any VC, they want to see some traction. That's the reason that we're launching the Indiegogo campaign, to demonstrate that that there is some traction, that people do want these devices, and then we'll sit back down with them. But we're pre-revenue startup, so closing a Series A, I think, is a little bit premature for us. But we're very glad that we got to sit down with them and get the introductions.
Well, and getting $1 million check is huge to help get started. Now, we see.
Doesn't suck.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of interest in this IP-connected home.
Yeah.
The question is, it's not clear yet who's, what path and which way is going to win. I love the approach he's taking, which is all open and all software for the most part, which lets you get it all in. Most of them are pretty proprietary solutions, and then you have some of the big boys all trying to figure out what's Apple going to do and how are they going to do it, and what's going on with the TV and the network. So there is a lot of noise, as you said, and it's still murky as to which path is the one. But that's how it always is when you're trying to bet on something that's going to be it's hard to bet on something today that you'll look brilliant with 6 years from now, right? So, I think the approach that...
Maynard, keep in mind, it's crystal clear over here. Come on.
I know. And, yes.
So, what are some of your kind of, if this was coming in, your kind of common questions? Obviously, you're asking, obviously, I said to cite the market, the addressable market.
Yeah, well, how big is it? How many people are really buying these devices? I do know on the dimmers, I loved hearing the price point on that because that's huge to get that kind of power for that amount of money. I have, a really nicely wired home with a crazy amount of intelligence in it, and it costs me a fortune every time we want to add a light.
Let me know if you need a programmer.
Yeah, we probably do. So,
well, isn't that the thing, Maynard, that before I left CEDIA, we commissioned a study the size and the scope of the residential systems industry. We determined that the TAM was about in excess of $13 billion on these installed home technologies. But we also found that almost all of that was being spent by very wealthy Americans living in homes in excess of value of $750,000. Now, I know where you guys live, it's a garden shed, but in the rest of the country, $750,000 is an expensive home. So we believe that there are three key chokeholds to expanding the TAM, and the first has to do with the price. You've got to bring the price down of these systems to reach a broader audience. It has to be easier. We don't think you should have to have a double E degree to add something or make a simple change. And you have to reinvent the user experience. And we believe we've done that with our app because it's quite unique. So those three things really need to occur to increase the TAM. But we think that we can increase it by at least 10x by doing those three things.
So it's interesting. I mean, I'm sure maybe one of the questions that you would ask is, or trying to get a sense of is what the exit is. I mean, if you, especially as you're an angel, it's like, what's the exit? How quick can I get out?
No. I run away when somebody's trying to get out quickly.
Okay.
I am looking for somebody that's trying to change the world and wants to stay longer. Too many people are trying to make money and move on.
Strategy.
So I am most interested in how serious are you at doing this? How big is it?
But how common is that amongst angels and VCs? I mean,
well, most I would say most VCs know that it's a long-term bet, right? That they have to be in for a lot of rounds. And I can't speak. There's a ton of great angels, all of whom have helped me in getting started. I think most of them they all would like to see a return. There's a lot of angel investors that actually haven't made any money, and then there are some that make a ton of money. And I think most of the folks that make money know that it takes time, and they're looking for companies that are going to be doing good things. And I know I've served on several boards with Sequoia, and they always fight to have the founder not sell, and sometimes the founder, like at AdMob, was ready to sell, and they're like, no, we want you in for the long haul. I can tell you that, I felt the same way with Ripple, that I thought they had a huge future, and Salesforce did a great job of, getting them integrated in at a great price and all that good stuff.
A lot of times the founders have to go to work and continue and integrate into the new company, or it's going to just fall apart and vaporize.
Yep, I think Maynard has a very good point about, the entrepreneur needs to go into this, with the idea you're building a business to sustain itself, to grow. And if you're thinking about the exit going into it, you're probably not going to have the exit you want.
Exactly. And the other thing is, you know, I love when people are that are as passionate as us is on what he's trying to do, and he wants to leave a legacy for somebody, you know, and be able to talk about what he built and did. Mm-hmm. And so if you build something and get a little bit of money out of it, then you're back working on what am I going to do next, right? And somebody else has your idea and takes your baby to some other place. So I'd rather bet on people who want to have that go the distance.
That's great advice. Excellent.
Yeah.
A few things before we start to wind down. What colors are going to be available once they launch? I'm sure white, probably common, right? Maybe eggshell or light.
The production
called cloud blue. Yeah.
But the capacitive touch has more of a frosted appeal because it's backlit. When you approach the dimmer, it lights up, so you can see it at night. It has a small PIR built into it, so we're working on it to see whether or not we want to have it actually turn lights on and off. But at least initially, the PIR will illuminate the dimmer as you walk up to it. So it'll be white. The first version. We're trying to get orders for 10,000 units on Indiegogo so we can go to production. Then we'll take a look at other colors or other inserts because you can use it with any standard plate, so it'll be easy to change up the color scheme down the road.
Okay, next is I never to ask you, but the current dimmer is just for a single load. What about like two-way and three-way dimmers for this side of the room, that exit, and such? Yeah,
certainly. Quick technical specs. Yeah, it'll control any dimmable light source, so CFL, LED, incandescent. But the production unit will be able to control 3- and 4-way switch operation. We're not going to create a separate SKU for the accessory switch, so you'll simply buy 2 of these and they'll communicate to one another.
Oh, so it's already set up.
Yeah, and then you'll also be able to configure it when you set it up to be either a dimmer or a switch mode. So if you've got something you just want to turn on and off that you can't dim, very easily in software in the app you'll be able to say switch or dim.
Now, what about let's say special features? And we kind of talked about this before, like time of day things. Let's say I forget to turn the lights off and it's midnight or whatever. Turn lights off at midnight. Things like that.
For the do-it-yourselfer, it's as easy as navigating through the app and setting schedules or setting in away mode so the lights will turn on and off automatically while you're out of town. And for the integrator, for you, you'll be happy to know, like I said, it's a published API. And so you're going to be able to do quite a bit with this thing. If you imagine it's, capacitive touch, IP, the gestures that we put in there right now are single slide up, 2 up and down, and then pinch. But what if you were to put your initials in or a heart to create a scene? The future of this device is astounding. You could even embed social media into it, and when you get home and set your lights to let friends know that you got home or something like that, or if you lose your remote control, it can be used to control anything. But of course, we're launching it as a dimmer.
Okay, and where can we go on Indiegogo to purchase this device?
Well, I don't have any text to come up on the screen, but if you go to Indiegogo, INDIEGOGO.com, and you can just browse or type in UBE up in the search bar, or browse through the design category. It'll take you to our page, and we have a special integrator beta program, Johnny, you might be interested in, that integrators that are interested in helping us prove the concept and want to give us feedback on how well it integrates with existing control systems, how easy it is to set up and program and so forth. But they'll get special pricing on future orders as a reseller.
Cool.
Cool.
Great. Do you know some of the other questions? I think we're drawing near.
Yeah, we're getting ready to go to the end. Anybody has a question, just come on over. Yeah. We have one over here. Right here.
Right here?
Yeah.
This question is for Mr. Webb. You spoke a bit about scale. I run and own a company that specializes in marketing, and we use CRM development. We have a CRM to help sell direct to consumer for wineries. I'd like to scale, but I'd like to also, we're a sales-driven company, but I'd like to make that bridge, that gap into the technological side of it. How Do you have any advice as to how a guy that doesn't come from the IT background and the technology background to wrap their concepts into, without hiring, a smart guy like Johnny or,
Well, I thought that would be a good.
And
I mean,
but to own it.
is a pretty cool.
Yeah, Badgeville is but there are apps and platforms out there that could help you, but you probably need a trusted guide. I wouldn't be afraid of trying to find a really good technologist that you can learn to trust, and have them open potential ideas up for you, because there's so much more to do. I think if you get a chance to think about it in a little broader sense. So find a partner, not a full partner, but find somebody that you could trust. Right. That maybe you hire them as a consultant in the beginning to see if you like, that could give you some ideas and test them with them and see if it makes sense, because the potentials are almost endless for what you could do and where you could go with a good winery. I mean, you already have a great product. The
CRM development is relatively new, or it's been around, but it's underutilized in the wine business. So there's a tremendous amount of potential, and it seems to me that our objectives need to be somewhat customized.
Well, I think even it's not just CRM. I mean, there's a whole social. Like, why are people buying wine, and in what circumstances? Where how do you actually learn what are the experiences, and how do you find a way to groom them to find them?
If they like this, might they like?
Like Local Response is one of our companies, and it finds somebody says something on Twitter, and then offers them. Then somebody gets upset that their Verizon phone doesn't work. It offers them a new package with AT&T immediately. So I mean, how to take advantage of some of the social media stuff that's out there might be very beneficial.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Or you can buy a dimmer. It might not help your situation, but it'll sure make you cooler.
And you'll save some money while you do it.
My wife will like that. Honey.